and then give me a point when you're
46.3.
What's up, Houston? Good morning. It is 9:03 a.m. My name's Gardy. I'm hanging out with Dr. Aaron Chapa as we are going to be talking about health, nutrition. We're going to be talking about a bunch of amazing things. If you're watching, feel free to share this out. And Facebook has given us some awesome fun. So if you can hear us, if you're watching and everything's working properly, give me a thumbs up, give me a react. This happened yesterday, but I think that it is working. Dr. Aaron Chapa is here in studio. If you've heard of Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, then you are in for a treat because we have the man, the legend, the man weaving through traffic to get here on time.
I had to part the Red Sea, I felt, man.
Were you praying as you were driving?
No, you know what? I was actually just handling a couple other things as I was like, well, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not going anywhere fast. It's not that I left late. I mean, 45 was jammed from 518 all the way to Delaney pretty much. And I was like, whew. So anybody that's heading southbound, you might as well buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be a slow ride. They're going to one lane all the way down.
Yeah, and I guess there's construction, but it's going to be constructed. I-45 is being tore down, rebuilt, and made better than ever.
That's
16 lanes wide, 8 lanes north and south.
Are you kidding?
It's going to be nice when it's finished.
When it's finished.
I think at the end of next year is the
deadline.
Is the goal.
That's pretty impressive.
We'll see. Maybe they'll finish ahead of schedule.
That really is. When you think about that, that's mammoth. And I always, I was sitting in a seminar once, and one of my mentors had just flew in from North Carolina, and he is originally from Houston, and he got on this little rampage about how much he was so excited. Not even a rampage. It was just excited that there's people out there that have elevated their thinking so effectively to even think about how to make your road experience more effective. Like there's technology thinking that goes forward in making sure that when you are driving on a road that's got grooves, that it silences the road noise and makes it more effective when wet rain is on the road, and so that there's less likely issues with traction. Whenever you're driving. And he was just like, who thinks like this? This is amazing. And then he goes, and by the way, this is exactly how we have to be thinking about clinical nutrition, wellness, and how we're evolving our patients forward, because there are so many potholes. There are so many distractions, detours. There are so many ways that we can get derailed, so to speak, whenever we're going down the wellness track. Can anybody give me a like button on that? Because
I will.
Please, thank you. And because the reality is that the being healthy today is just really marketed well, but nobody actually really teaches it well, in my opinion. And I don't want people just hearing my voice thinking, oh, you're marketing right now. No, contraire, mon frere. Well, I'm giving you information. I'm giving you insights. I'm giving you tools every week to share to make your life better. And it is ultimately up to you whether or not you implement them into your world or seek better how to implement them into your world, because there's only so much that I can do because I don't know your case. But when you come into Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, what I train my staff to do, what I train my clinicians to do, is to be thinking about all those potholes, all those detours, all those distractions, all those glitches that you're going to run into in the real world of what to eat, how to get. Like yesterday, I had a little kid come in. I feel like I look at his nutrition program and it's beautiful. I'm like, this is awesome for a 2.5-year-old, a 3-year-old. But he's still dealing with asthma. He's still dealing with this and that and the other. And I'm like, okay, Mom, now we got to have a real conversation, like, what's he eating? And there's silence. And that silence makes Mom goes, she gets it. She already knows where this is going.
What is he eating?
And in this case, it would have been those little organic applesauce pops.
Yeah.
Right? 8, 9 of those a day. So apples and the sugar. Possibly, depending, I don't know. We don't know. I didn't ask because she's going to get me a list of how much sugar we think the kid eats in a day. But the reality is like, oh, wow, like even fruit sugar, compounded by sugar, drives sugar pathways in the body to a point where the child can't get traction on that new road.
Right.
And the new road, guys, is the road to health. The new road that we're teaching is to see, okay, like we got to evaluate everything, because at any point in your day that you're putting fuel or a substance into your body, you're feeding two camps. You're either feeding the good guys or you're feeding the bad guys. Can we agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a like button if you like that.
I
Boom,
am.
boom, boom. I don't know why I'm in the like button stage.
Feels good.
Oh, man. This is Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, guys, and this is Dr. Aaron Chapa, and I am very excited to be, with Gardy and what KHEA Radio is doing on TV as well as on the radio, on Facebook, on YouTube, all the social media imports and its inputs, and it's just so fun to leverage technology in a world to reach people that I might not ever get to talk to. So if you're driving, Gardy can give you a phone number to call in. If you're out there in the world of social media, Facebook, and you're joining our live chats, stay tuned. I want you to ask questions, get your answers that you need, and to make today a better day. Because today, guys, is the day to choose health, to choose a better version of you. And I believe that fundamentally all life starts and stops at the nutritional level. And it is the fundamental backbone that allows your body to either get traction and move forward. And what a great thing that happened to me on that road, or to get or to slip down the slippery slope towards, unhealthy land.
Yeah, there was congestion. Everything got down to one lane. Nothing was moving out. I feel like there's a detox in there somewhere.
You know what? I'm so glad that you might have just
It's
pitched.
getting hot in
I
here.
think you might have just pitched me one fastball down the middle. And so we decided that today we would talk a little bit about detox because
Whoa!
And we're going to just start with this guy right here.
Can we go on the FM first? That's the only thing we haven't switched on to.
Absolutely.
We're going to get you reintroduced, and let's get talking about detoxing right before Thanksgiving week. Does this make sense? We're going to find out.
I don't know. We don't know.
Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it is 9:10 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. If you're watching on Facebook, smash the thumbs up button. Let me know, where are you watching from. If you're listening on 99.5 FM in your car, maybe on the KHEA Radio app, it's free. Then you can send me a text, 346-704-1806. You can also do that if you're watching on channel 46.2 in Houston, Texas. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. Dr. Aaron Chapa is here in studio. We're going to be talking about detoxing. We're going to be talking about juicing, cleansing, right before Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for you being here today, Dr. Chapa.
Well, man, I am very thankful as well. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it with all the traffic on the southbound, right?
It's a little congested on I-45. It's going down to one lane.
Yeah. It's interesting. Anytime there is congestion, there's, I think, irritation and frustration.
In the bowels. You just say those words and bowels just comes to my head.
I know. See, I feel like I've trained you well, Gardy. This is fantastic.
I'm a Padawan. Do you have Disney Plus?
I'm working on it.
Okay. Star Wars. That's all. Star Wars.
So, it's amazing, and because it doesn't just have to be in the bowels. It can be the bowels are being your number one exit channel. Are like the start. It's 80% of the game. I always tell patients that are tired and run down is that 80% of your energy is tied up in your digestive tract.
Okay.
And so if your digestive tract is slow, sluggish, stopped, stuck, constipated, not moving more than once a day, or moving every other day, or heaven forbid once a week, there's problems in your health journey and your health future. And what happens is that stagnation, that sluggishness, just like on the freeway this morning coming down the southbound side, when you've got 4 lanes that are open that could immediately go down to 1, it kind of slows down the way that the day goes.
And it has to be the southbound lane, too. It just makes sense with everything we're talking about.
Oh, Gardy's got this. If there was one of those little, like, olden days where we had, like, the sounds, we go, but-ching in the background, that's awesome. And exactly, it's on the southbound side, stuck. Your liver's going to get stuck.
Yep.
Your lymphatics are going to get stuck. And when stuff gets stuck in your liver, your body has to find an alternate route, and it backs up into that lymph system. And if it doesn't get out of that lymph system, it's more likely that it's going to become infected. And then it'll back up into your, what we call upper high lymph system. That's your ears, eyes, nose, throat. That's where all your ENTs come into play. And unfortunately, most ENTs today are just playing in the head. And the reality is we got to go downstream. We got to
What
go.
is that?
We got to go southbound.
An ENT? Is that what you're saying? What
ear,
is that?
nose, and throat.
Okay, ear, nose, throat
Yep.
doctor. Gotcha.
And so, and what they're playing with is the high lymph system, and that high lymph system is congested. You see earaches here in children. You see tonsillitis in the throat. You see conjunctivitis in the eyes. You see allergies coming down the back of the throat or out the nose. You could even see rashes or acne on the forehead, on the cheeks, on the upper part of your shoulders and back due to this lymphatic congestion in these areas. And that's where, one of the things about medicine that I oftentimes find is where they focus on the symptom, and we've got to retrain you guys thinking to not listen to the symptoms other than to recognize the symptoms are a check engine light, that something else has gotten stuck in the body. And then if that doesn't get resolved, or it could go a secondary route through the lungs. And there's where your asthma, your wheezing, your air hunger, your excessive yawning, all the lung challenges that people deal with start to manifest themselves.
I saw a article pop up on my Facebook feed, and it said that a smoker had selected to be an organ donor, and that they just couldn't use it. And in my head, they showed a picture of a smoker's lungs, and I was like, well, I was thinking, yeah, you can't put that in somebody else, but you need to take care of what you have, and especially when it comes to your lungs and things that you don't get a redo when it comes to your body. Like, this is it. You're born with one.
That's right.
In most cases.
And the reality, most people are also minimizing their expressive gene code.
Right.
So we are all made up of what's called a genotype. That's our metabolic blueprint. That's what mom and dad gave you. And inside of that blueprint, there are what we call expressive genes, your phenotypical expression. And that phenotype is what you see on TV if you're watching me live, or what you hear in my voice, even in the strength and the quality of my voice if you're listening to me on the radio. And those out in Facebook land that can see and hear, you're getting the best of both worlds. Good for you. And so what's interesting is that expression is all choice. You can change the way you express yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, productivity, energetically into the world. And most people today, unfortunately, are minimizing their expressive potential. And they do that because they feed their body wrong. They're not giving their body the building blocks to be their best. And so we are always looking for ways to help encourage people and empower people to take a step in this journey and give your body tools, resources, because there are two camps that you're supplying needs to. You're either feeding the bad guys in your body that will degenerate you more quickly, or you're building up your good guys and giving you the body the tools that it needs to be its best. And I find that children, what if my kid could be 6'1" or 6'2"? My dad was over 6 foot. My brother was right at 6 foot. Well, what happened to a little old Chop here? Little old Chop.
How tall are you?
He at his prime, he was 5'10" and maybe a quarter and a half. If I was standing slightly on my tippy toes, but really right now I'm like 5'9", like I'm a clean 5'9", and I'm like, okay, so not everybody shrinks, that's kind of the normal aging cycle. So I hate to say it, I'm in the aging process just like anybody else. But what if I could have hit 6, but because of my poor diet choices, my lack of nutrition, my body didn't maximize its potential? What if people's bodies are wearing out? And oh, by the way, they are. That's why people that are in their 60s and 70s find themselves with reflux, indigestion, heartburn, gastritis. They have irritations inside the bowel. And guess what? That is their body wearing out too fast. That's the gut lining, the digestive lining that is beginning to thin. That thinning can be prevented and slowed down. And then we find that when we start slowing down that process and regenerating those tissues, all of a sudden, your symptoms begin to reverse. You stop having reflux, indigestion. I had a lady yesterday. I'm so proud of her. And her name's Roz, and she says, I don't have any digestive trouble anymore. This is amazing. And she's like in her mid-60s or late 60s and maybe early 70s. It doesn't matter. And but because she's acting and aging very well. She is younger than her chronological age base says. And that's what we teach, man. That is anti-aging at its finest. It doesn't mean that we have a fountain of youth. It means that we maximize everybody at their age and no matter what they've been through. But man, if you beat your body up with cigarettes and you're beating it up with, bad sleeping habits and you're beating it up with candy and processed food and sugars, you're going to be like the freeway was today.
Backed up, congested, and down to one lane, not running smooth, making everything a little bit late.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Your wife's going to be yelling at you, "What are you doing? Get out of the restroom." And it's like, there's nothing happening in here.
That's right.
Trust me.
Just my video game. And so that brings us into, why we decided to talk detox in the middle of November, because we have a 10-day and a 14-day detox that I really use at this time of the year, because I have some patients, and most of you as well would find value in this conversation, is you need a plan, even if it's 10 days, to stay focused, because it's not Thanksgiving month. Yes, we be thankful, Gardy.
But I'm trying to be thankful every day. Thankful for the pie, thankful for the cookies and the treats and everything Thanksgiving, right?
I know. No, I hear you. And it is challenging. But what if you took 10 days out of the month of November and 10 days out of the month of December, and you just focused on taking better care of what you're putting in your body? And then whenever the day comes, just like Halloween came and it went. Yeah. And it's not, it's not a month of candy. What we did is we let our kids indulge in candy for like 2 days, maybe 2.5 days, and then the candy just disappeared. And guess who stopped asking for candy?
The kids probably forgot it was there, or thought they ate it all.
Yeah, and so I wanted to do one of those cool little things that the TV shows do at night shows.
Jimmy Kimmel,
and they like do the steal candy thing, but I don't know. It never really happened. I don't think my kids.
You can't eat. Yeah, they'd be like, "Dad, you didn't eat the candy." I don't believe that. You don't eat candy, Dad.
That's right. That would have been kind of funny.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have done that. You're too healthy to do stuff like that. You know what I mean?
No, I might have eaten some candy.
Yeah. So but this is what we found with detox. People just need something to hold them accountable, even if it's 10 days. I have a 7-day, a 10-day, and a 14-day, metabolic reset detox through this program called the SP Detox Balance. And the cool thing is it's not near as extreme as my ultimate detox experience, but it does quite a few amazing things for the digestive tract, for the liver, for the lymphatics, for your kidneys, all your major exit channels that need to be moved, and you still get to eat while you're on this. You don't have to go on a vegetarian diet. You get to eat proteins and good food and nourishing food, just not processed food.
Yeah.
We're still giving you a little vacation.
This one, I haven't tried this one, right? Because I've only done the Ultimate Detox, or is this on that protocol? It's not. I have not.
That's correct.
Because it's chai flavored. I was going to say, I've never tried anything chai flavored.
Yeah, so this product here is basically multiple layers of phase 1 and phase 2 mixed together. And what I mean by phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification is once your bowels are open, all right, and moving. So we're now back to a 6-lane highway and everything's moving southbound really smooth. Oh,
yeah.
Baby. Fawn-colored fluffy photos about a foot long.
Good to go.
Is the liver now has a more healthy place to dump toxins and things that it can't use. And by definition, a toxin, because that word is really misunderstood today. A toxin is just anything that your body cannot use that could be driving your headaches, that could be driving your rashes, that could be driving your allergies, that could even be driving palpitations in your chest or even anxiety.
Acne.
No
I was
question.
dealing with that. Breakouts all in my face.
And here's what's wild is it as simple as food? Is it as simple as a little detox program? Of course it is. And if you're not, hear me please. Silence. Okay, get ready. If you're not detoxing in the 21st century, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare plan. And I want you to really adopt this. This is not a gimmick. This is real. Like, we are a toxic mess in the 21st century. For the last 30 some odd years, we have been beating our bodies up with fake fats. We've demonized fat, like avocados and butter and lard, that these things are evil and that they're going to cause our bodies to deteriorate. And the reality is all the margarines and all the fake butters that have come out that in the past are one chemical reaction away from plastic. They are chemicals that model butter, but they're not butter. And they can cause this congestion to escalate very rapidly in our body. And then by putting in this fake fat, it's also decreased your fat intake because your body can't really use these fake fats. And so your body is hungry because it's not satisfied with the protein and the fat that you're getting into your diet. And so now you're reaching for carbohydrates. It's like when you go to a movie theater and you buy the gigantuan, ready, popcorn.
I love popcorn. That's like my favorite. I just got this big grin. Like,
this kid in a candy store, right?
If y'all could witness, there is literally a bubble that went bing, and like I saw the popcorn, and it was me putting butter and
all over.
That's real butter, right?
Yeah, right.
Right at the movies,
sure wish it
more
was, right?
with the popcorn salt. Oh man, my mouth's watering.
Yeah, and there's no question that is chemically altered popcorn. That's why it's so
good. That's why it's so
hard
good.
To stop, and why they give you a free refill if you spend the extra $2 for the gigantuan one, and then you get yourself a soda.
Yeah, Mr. Redenbacher, he developed that formula for me specifically. He was thinking about me, like instead of God, like God thinking about his creation. Mr. Redenbacher making that popcorn, it's good, Dr. Chapa. I can finish the entire tub, 100%
easily, and I believe that most people would probably go to smash the like button if you found yourself finishing the whole tub yourself. It's okay. We won't judge. We want to get a head count for who's going to do our detox in January. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Y'all are awesome. And even if you eat the popcorn, because it is hard to turn down. It is about self-control at that point. But here's the reality: is all that is carbohydrates, because most of you guys that went to the movies and got that big old tub of popcorn and soda just left the steakhouse and just had steak and potatoes.
Yeah, dinner and a movie. That's the way it goes.
That's right. You're not hungry, but yet you can stuff that popcorn down like you haven't eaten in 4 weeks. And the why is because it's empty calories. Your brain doesn't have a satisfaction button on it. It's just like, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in.
I have a question.
Yo.
If I brought real butter and I melted it on top of the popcorn, would I feel full?
You should, because fat in its, if you put enough.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you think of that big, I don't know. I wonder how many ounces that big tub is. We should Google that.
Yeah.
And if you look at that big tub and you only put a tablespoon of butter, I don't know that it's going to make that big of a difference, because I mean, can the butter really surface area cover that massive?
Just a little bit on every bite, if anything. It won't.
I don't know that would be enough, right? And but if you, like at our home, my kids make popcorn, but they go and they on the stove. They heat it up. They melt the butter down, real butter, organic Kerrygold butter, and they just pour that over their popcorn. But it's not that big. It's not as much as being popped at the theater. But the idea here is that when you put in all those carbohydrates, we have to wonder why your body's not being satisfied. Why can you continue to eat that much popcorn and soda and sugar? Because empty calories do not satisfy.
Yeah. We have an answer.
Oh, let's
and this
do
is
it.
from Amy at iMassage Pro over in KHEA. Shout out to iMassage Pro. I've had one of those massages before. It feels good. So check her out. Amy said 150 ounces. Did you Google that? Let me know.
Yeah. So
it's a lot.
150 ounces. Wowzer. Do you know that's more than a gallon?
How many ounces are in a gallon?
126.
Wow.
That's crazy. And you just told me that you, as well as everybody else that probably smashed the like button, can eat a gallon of popcorn and still feel relatively ready for more.
Here's maybe it's impressive or maybe it's sad, but I finish it before the movie starts. Like the previews. Like I'm almost done in the previews, and I'm like, I give it to my wife and I say, take this away from me so you can have some popcorn too. And then she'll eat a couple, and I'm like, okay, can I have some back now? And I'm like pouring it on my lap, and I was like, okay, you keep the big thing, and I'll just like kind of snack.
It makes you wonder, right? Is if these commercial popcorns, and I'm not picking on corn, I don't know why we're just focused on that one toxin, but that's just a make-believe food that people indulge in quite frequently. But what if it's chemically altered that you can't stop? Is that a possibility? I mean, other companies go out and they say things like, I bet you can't eat just one. Do you think they're betting to lose?
I can't just eat one popcorn.
And
that's
no
a fact.
way. And so there is something to chemically altering our food in order to make it where it doesn't push those satisfaction buttons and you just keep gobbling and keep gobbling and keep gobbling until you find yourself in a conundrum.
My wife commented as well and said he's not exaggerating at all. No, it's facts. Again, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts on any of this, we're talking about detoxing. We got off on popcorn because it's so good, but Thanksgiving's next week. So we're trying to plan ahead. We're trying to plan for January and also see if you can weasel in some detoxing after Thanksgiving. Maybe you need it.
And you probably will. And I've got patients that are on it currently that will go right up to the 20th, 21st, 24th time frame. And right now we're inside of 10 days. So maybe, you're post-Thanksgiving detox, getting ready for the Christmas holidays, because that'll be the second, big to-do that we've got to hurdle and overcome.
Yeah.
And just recognize, guys, like, why wait till January to start taking better care of yourself? I mean, because that's 60 potential days between now and the end of the year, 45 at this point, But at the end of the day, you're missing, like, traction. Do what you can to take care of you so that you don't have, like, this mountain to move in January. Let's just whittle away what isn't you in January instead of have to, take dynamite and, blow holes into the mountain like they did to make way in the past. Like, let's be mindful that there are little things we can do all throughout the month building up to the big hoorah, and not find ourselves like in a pickle on the flip side. And so it's not a month where we just indulge, and we just do it because marketing says that's what we get to do. We be mindful and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should take better care of myself this month. Maybe I should, like on Thanksgiving Day, whenever you have done a detox or you're getting ready for the Thanksgiving holiday, you still go ahead and eat breakfast, a protein focused breakfast. Maybe you have a protein shake. Maybe you eat very clean all the way up to the meal that you're going to indulge in. And then you have, the junk food for a day and a half, and you indulge, you enjoy your family, you enjoy what it really is about, which is Thanksgiving, and giving thanks and giving thanks to God, thanks to the idea of relationship that, you have and hope that you have. And so this is, what Thanksgiving should be about, breaking bread and interacting with loved ones, as opposed to just, how much food can I eat so I can get to the next football game? Or if I can sleep through the next football game. Because that's what's going to happen. That's that food coma that people get into. And so when we get into detoxing in the middle of the holiday, for example, it's more of damage control. It's opening up those channels. It's making sure that your 6-lane highway remains a 6-lane highway and it doesn't get congested down to a 4, a 3, a 2, or heaven forbid a 1. And that means that things build up in your liver, and these toxins that your body cannot use now begin circulating around, causing brain fog, causing skin eruptions, causing headaches, causing some sort of symptom pattern that you weren't genetically born with. And then you find yourself not as thankful as you could have been.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that, we find ourselves too often living in the past of regret. And we don't want to be there. We want to help people, like, be forward thinkers and to say, all right, look, that's right. I mean, I can choose a day out of the week to be healthy. I can choose, a meal out of the day to be healthy. I can drink more water today. I can assess my system by going to justlivewell.com and doing some of our symptom surveys and figuring out which area, sleep, energy, allergies, detox, hormones that you are lacking in, and seeing that you do, even in the holidays, have nutritional needs. Anything that you're putting in your mouth, anything at all, whether it's fluid or whether it's food and air, you are either feeding the good guys or contaminating the good guys or feeding the enemy. And those enemies can be the flu, those enemies can be bacteria. And when we work with patients more and more, when I build wellness plans for the sick, what I find is I must absolutely address the digestive tract. If I don't address that digestive tract, people go, you mean my common cold is from my bowels? It absolutely can be, and oftentimes is. And I'm telling you, this is an area where people do not understand. We have to go southbound to get to the core of the problem, the root of your issue, and then start addressing it. I have manipulated more stomachs this week and more livers this week. So I'm already seeing those congestion areas start building up, and we're releasing those in the office. We're releasing those with supplements by hand. We are helping people's systems viscerally move better. The idea of just working on the structure, the tension in the muscles is, again, an upstream symptom, and the real root problem is in the viscera. It's in the organ systems. When those organ systems are congested, the body has nowhere to go but to backlog into the joints, into the brain, into the fat cells. And then you walk into a room and can't remember why you got there. You can't remember names, numbers, or words. You can't memorize scripture. You say, oh, I'm just not a memorizer. I can't. My brain's not that good. And you start making excuses. We call that excuse-itis. We have a cure for that. Take action. Come to Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. Let us teach you a better plan, a better way, so that you can maximize what that wonderful gift you got between your ears called a brain. My father always told me, and I'll tell my kids, and I'll tell you guys, God gave us a brain. He expects us to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's okay to say. I think that we need to hear that sometimes. And I think that because it puts onus back on us to take the bull by the horns and not let life happen to you. You've got to take the bull by the horns, and you've got to wrestle that turkey down to the ground and pin him, and recognize that it's your life. It's your
And then you
health.
put him in the oven or you fry him.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what does your week look like next week? It is Thanksgiving. On a typical Chapa Thanksgiving family holiday season, it's everybody's time to shine. Whether you're cooking, desserts. I'm not sure if you have a recipe that you're bringing to the table. Do you do it at your house? Go somewhere else?
No.
What do you eat?
Typically, we go to we switch. So every other year, it's at my mom's or my in-laws. And so this year, I believe it is at my in-laws, and so I will bring my own version of stuffing, because I have a gluten-free stuffing.
What's
that
in it? What's in it?
Participate, and I honestly have to go look at the recipe.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't thought that far.
Send me a
ahead,
picture.
but I will send you. Well, actually, I'll be here next Tuesday, right? No, we won't be here next Tuesday.
We'll be here next Tuesday, so make sure that you tune in.
Oh, no, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just Thanksgiving. That's all. And
Yeah.
and so that could be a recipe that we can throw up there.
Okay.
And so I'll get that. But it is a gluten-free turkey dressing that I use.
Do you have to bake it?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty much the exact same thing that everybody else has. And I mean, it's pretty darn good, actually. I mean, it's a little different than your traditional stovetop stuffing. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's not. And so there's more nutritional density in it.
Awesome.
So I feel like, it's a healthier version of a cheat that I get to indulge in.
Very cool.
And then, of course, your turkey. I don't do much ham. I might probably have a little bit of ham, maybe.
Y'all bake the turkey?
Yeah, we bake the turkey, or we smoke a turkey.
Man, I was looking at the grocery store yesterday. Ham is expensive. Like, I don't know. I guess the turkeys are smaller, and the ham, I was like picking this up. I was like, $50 for this? And, look at the turkey, and it was quite a bit less expensive.
I like, if I, had my way, I'd just buy a Greenberg turkey. I love a Greenberg turkey. Oprah was big about the Greenberg turkeys back in the late 90s, I think. And so my in-laws got me on that bandwagon. My mom gets me on that bandwagon. And I actually take once the turkey's up, I actually take all the bones and the carcasses and do what we did a few weeks ago and make a broth out of it. And
cool.
And so I actually make a turkey bone broth and use that for, remineralizing the body if it's sick, or flavoring food. Yeah, it's coming in. So I'm going to use that whole bird.
Can you imagine being at Oprah's for Thanksgiving?
That would be, let's go.
You get a Greenberg.
Yeah.
You get a Greenberg.
That'd be
Everybody gets
awesome.
a turkey.
That would be amazing.
A lot of fun.
And so then I have a fresh apple crisp gluten-free pie that I indulge in. So I'm still pretty gluten-free, because for me, what I've learned, gluten makes me feel really bloated, like I just bloat up. So I really limit its intake. So in order for me to indulge and enjoy some of these things,
you don't want to be bloated.
I don't like it. Like, I don't like that feeling. I want to, man, my kids, being that I have 4 kids, it's not just a holiday of family fun. It is a play day. Like, my kids, are absolutely wanting me to run.
Yeah.
They want me to run and play and jump. And so if I overindulge, it's trouble, So I actually have 2 servings of food. I have, a fair lunch, a decent sized plate for lunch, and then a decent sized plate later that afternoon, either later in the day or that evening. And so I try to really be careful because, gosh, whenever you see the spread of food that my in-laws can put together, or you see a spread of food that my my aunt and my mom can put together, I mean, it's you ain't leaving hungry. And if you left hungry, it's shame on you, because there is so much food. And I know that people out there can vouch for this, is there's more food than you can imagine. There'll be sweet potato pie. There'll be green beans and, green bean casseroles and things like that. And I just get I make casseroles without the cheese. And I avoid, most of the rice and whatnot, if there is any present. I'm still relatively grain-free. Again, I'm a meat and veggies kind of a guy, so it really especially it's not a day of like feasting as much as it is indulging in relationship and conversation and catching up with the people I haven't seen in a year if it's, family functions.
Yeah.
And so I really take and work on those aspects of Thanksgiving as opposed to just indulge. Because again, when you eat so much sugar, what happens, and the sugar, guys, comes in the form of the grains. It comes in the form of the sugar in the pie or the sugar in the fruit or whatever. And I say grains, it could be the stuffing, it could be the bread, it could be the tortillas, whatever your style of breading is. All that stuff converts into a carb, into a sugar, into a blood sugar spike in your body.
Do you know how many grams of carbs you have a day?
For me?
Yeah.
So I'm always under 60 grams of carbohydrates on a bad day every day. I'm never going over that.
That's like a goal?
That you can take it to the bank. Like most people today are 150 to 180, probably even 220 carbs a day. And some people, they can get, 60 grams. Like a slice of bread, for example, is between 15 and 22 grams of carbohydrates. So if you think of a standard sandwich, that's 30. That's half your daily, carb intake. If it's a foot long, it's probably 60 grams.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you look at a cookie, for example, a cookie can be between 25 and 30 grams. A bag of Skittles could be, it can even be higher. I've seen some of these healthy protein bars that were in the excess of 30, 40 grams of carbohydrates. And when if you're looking at the label for carbs, your goal for a day is 60 grams of carbohydrates for the day. And that helps you stay in what we call a healthy blood sugar daily intake range. And it helps you to control. It helps you to have a speed limit, a governor, so to speak, so that you are always kind of moving on track, even whenever you're surrounded by the stuff of the day and working through like, all right, well, how much can I have and still indulge and have a good time?
So right now I am eating like macros. I had somebody do some macros for me, and that's what I'm eating on. Next week is going to be interesting because of Thanksgiving, but I'm gonna try and stick to it as much as I can and just eat the things I'm supposed to and maybe just like sample some stuff. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think that's the game. Here's what you have with those macro numbers. They give you like bird's eye views of what is coming in to fuel this wonderful body you got to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you stay inside your macro zone based on your height, your age, your activity level, and you're able to maximize your caloric burn, you're making sure that you don't have a whole lot of excess that you put back for storage, and you're not getting these swings in blood sugar. So when you get a blood sugar spike, your blood sugar, so like picture like a pitcher of water of overfilling. The pitcher is how much you're able to tolerate in any setting. And when high levels of sugar are running rampant in the body, I would equate it to like glass shards scraping your skin and irritating that tissue. Those epithelial linings get irritated and those endothelial linings in the blood arteries. they get irritated via excess amounts of sugar running loose. So it's not safe. But when the sugar rises in your body, you've got a hormone called insulin that shoots up also that grabs hold, of insulin receptors that activate these receptors that help cells take the blood sugar back down by entering the blood sugar into a cell. And then that's used for energy and running processes in the body. But when you get these constant overloads of blood sugar, your body does something interesting. It starts predicting, oh, I'm going to overproduce my insulin production in order to make sure that I drive that sugar back down into a safe zone. But when I overproduce insulin, what winds up happening is I start driving my blood sugar too low. Now I'm what? Tired, fatigued, shaky, irritable. These are the symptoms, headachy, of blood sugar crashes, or hypoglycemic, or reactive hypoglycemic, where your blood sugar is tanking because your body overproduced too much insulin because it's so used to you driving that sugar up so quickly. And what drives blood sugar up so quickly at that steep rate of impact is bread, rice, cereal, pasta, potatoes, corn, and processed sugars. And when we input those things in at the rapid amount that we do, it causes that rapid skyrocket of sugar. The body compensates by overcompensating insulin. It drops your blood sugar down below your functional metabolic points, and now you're tired again, you're shaky again, you're irritable again, you're now becoming agitated and frustrated, and we start coping with reactive hypoglycemia with food. And we keep doing this, what we call ups and downs diet. That's when you started seeing people talk about breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks in between. It's the ups and downs diet. And although it is effective when you have blood sugar crises, really what you're wanting to do is to not just leverage insulin. You want to leverage your body's hormone systems to raise blood sugar up. So we have 5 hormones that raise our blood sugar up. 5. We have 1 that lowers it. But yet we live in a country where diabetes is like number 2 on the list behind cardiovascular disease, and killing people. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, what happened? I mean, we got 5 hormones to raise our blood sugar, but yet we already have a problem of too high blood sugar? Let's think about this a second. What went wrong? And it is absolutely overconsumption. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a change in the food pyramiding. And we decreased the macros, of your fats 5%, just 5 measly percent points.
Who decides that? Just the
FDA, the USDA.
Yeah. This is what's best. Right.
That's what, and the people that pay to be on those scales. Okay, because the food pyramids. If you go back in the 40s and you look at the food pyramid of the day, the food pyramid of the day was very encompassing. You should just Google food pyramid 1930s or 1940s, and you'll see there was a lot of categories, and it was really designed to be useful. But then when somewhere around, and my timeline might be slightly off, but around late 50s, mid 60s, there was a shift in where from the dairy industry and the meat industry were having some problems. And so they put their dollars together to basically buy placement on this food pyramid, and basically it became a paid service. Great marketing. But yet, really, it's just money driving the pictures, not actual what is good for the people and good for the body. And so now wheat is the number one thing, as most of us still, at my age and older, still believe in the pyramid. We don't really buy into this plate and glass of milk nonsense. I mean, it's just nobody wants a plate and a glass of milk. They like their pyramid. But at the bottom of that pyramid, what's on the bottom? 6 to 11 servings of bread, grains, corns, all the things that drive the insulin or the blood sugar up, that cause the insulin to go up after it. But what really drives those 5 hormones to raise your blood sugar is because you're running a system that elevates your sugars to come up, and that only happens through good fats. Higher fat intake, better quality protein intake, grass-fed things that aren't high in what we call omega-6 to omega-3 fats. Too much omega-6 is inflammatory. We need more 3s. Grass-fed creatures can give you omega-3s. Fish can give you omega-3s. And you just got to be able to decipher where are you getting your good quality omega-3 fats. And so what winds up happening is when you start putting in protein, for example, for breakfast, and that could be a shake of good, clean, quality protein shake, a rice protein, pea protein. I'm not saying that's always the answer. Could be even a beef protein. There's so many different options to kind of help that starts to regulate your protein levels and your blood sugar levels up in a steady rise, not a sharp spike. It's the sharp spikes in blood sugar that get us in trouble. We need a steady rise, and then those 5 hormones will hold it up all day long, and then you'll go into your sleep cycle, and you'll kind of coast right in for a beautiful landing. Your eyes will close, you'll drift off into a la-la land, and your body will start cleaning house. Your lymphatics will engage. Your system is running smoothly. You're not getting all these extremes. Your body really doesn't like extremism. It wants steady rises, gentle lows, and most of the American diet is set up to be exactly how we live. Fast-paced, very disorganized, very disorienting, very confusing, and it's just, 3 sheets to the wind. Let me throw a bag of Skittles down. Let me throw Snickers in there. Let me hit up Coke. Let me hit a Bang. Let me go, coffee. People go all the time, can I still have my coffee? And I said, well, you got to take the dairy and the sugar out. Well, that's not coffee. Well, then you don't want coffee. Just go eat dairy and sugar, because you're not actually wanting the caffeine whenever you're putting, 3/4 cup of creamer to 1/4 of a cup of coffee in sprinkling sugar and everything else on top of it. So we've got to look at some of these better options in order to manage the blood sugar. And fat, this is interesting. When you look at fats has zero impact on blood sugar. And that is a really cool thing. Proteins have a slight impact, and obviously your bread, rice, cereal, pasta, potatoes, and processed sugars all have a very extreme effect on your blood sugar, therefore an extreme effect on your insulin, therefore an extreme effect on inflammation. And inflammation is what everybody today is trying to decrease through massage or through cryotherapy or through detox therapy or the big thing right now, turmeric, and all these anti-inflammatory programs that CBD oil, all this stuff.
What does it even mean? Like, just like I think of inflamed, I think of it irritated and large. Is that what it is? Just like
it kind of could be. If you pop a tendon in your ankle, yeah, it's going to swell up like a grapefruit, and AKA knee or hip or back or whatever. But inflammation is basically a fire. There is a fire. There's a lot of blood flow. There's a lot of red blood cells. There's a lot of things getting broken down and rebuilt and refabricated and manufactured to back to the best quality function it can be. But think about that happening in 7 different joint systems: your fingers, your knees, your hips, your ankles. You know what I mean? Because the reason the joints go out first is because technically you can live without your wrist. Now I know what many of you are saying. No way, no how. But technically, from a survival perspective, you can still function and live without a wrist, without a foot. As long as your heart's beating and your brain's kicking, you're still alive. And so ultimately your body has one really critical thing that it's after every day to keep you alive and keep your brain on and your heart on. And so your body prioritizes all nutrition goes to the heart first, because when your lifeblood stops moving, guess what happens? It's a bad day. Mm-hmm. For this part of the journey, right? And but for those that know Jesus, we got eternity to look forward to. Praise God. And so I think that there is. I was going to say there's fullness of joy in Jesus. There is. I was just sorry. So a quick little side note. Had to let that one come on out.
Start preaching, Dr. Chapa.
Right.
You just went into it.
I know. and so but this conversation of blood sugar inflammation is only controlled via food. So all life starts and stops at the cellular level. That's why I can say that. All life, get that, all life starts at the cellular level. And nutrition, what is nutrition? Fundamental building blocks is the backbone to your life getting better, your symptoms going away, those inflammatory burdens that you're carrying around. I don't care if it's rheumatoid arthritis and you've been told by the 4 different rheumatologists you can't ever get better and you got stuck on this, this cancer chemical that they use. You don't have to. And listen, there are people out there that I know you probably have tried it all and you still suffer. And there may be some genetic glitches that are causing your body to always kind of be prone to suffering, but you're still alive. You still got to work at it. So throwing the baby out the bathwater is the worst news you could ever take in and believe. And I think that's a lie from the devil that will convince you otherwise. Well, I've tried that. It didn't work. No. I mean, you still got 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ahead of you. So choose life with what you can control, because literally 80% starts in the digestive tract via the food that you're putting in and day out. And then we start detoxing you and cleansing you. And I don't know if I talked about this last week, but I'll just say it now. I had a patient that I am working on that we had a setback this past month. And I was really upset about I took responsibility. And I have to be careful because I didn't get him sick, and I'm not going to get him well. Jesus Christ is the great physician. I am just conduit. And I have to remember that, we are all making choices day in and day out. And I am not there with you, helping you on those choices. I want to be a little angel on your shoulder. I want to be helping you see that if you're not eating well, that you're not going to digest well, and that you're going to go from a 6-lane highway down to a 1-lane highway, and you're going to be constipated, and everything's going to back up, and you're going to have symptoms coming from the north, the south, east, and the west, and you're not going to enjoy quality of longevity and vitality and productivity. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can't be there. I got to get you to make shifts and changes in your lifestyle by being a little angel on your shoulder. Therefore, I need you coming in to Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. Give us a call, 281-554-8600. Visit our website. Get enrolled in our nutrition programs, justlivewell.com. And we're evolving, and we're picking up the pace because we recognize there's a need. We recognize you need resources, that you need recipe ideas, and that you need ongoing tribal support. That's why we do a luncheon. An evening with Living Well every month. We have mommy meetups groups where we're educating, because we know that you're being bombarded with bad news education-wise, and we've got to bring in the good news of how to live well in this life, because we are inundated with reason to become more toxic. We are fighting an uphill battle like salmon, and so we have to constantly give you, new good reinforcement, encouragement to take one more step. Be vigilant. Your life depends on it. Your health depends on it. Mm-hmm. And remind you, because just like the Bible talks about, we're sheep. You know why Jesus used the phraseology sheep as a metaphor?
Why?
Because sheep, I don't want to say it on the
radio. They're not that bright. They just kind of follow, right? Yeah.
No, they don't even follow. They wander. They're prone to wander. And that's why the good shepherd always has to, go after them or break a leg or something to keep them close at hand, because it is necessary. And I think we bring on a lot of our own suffering because we are prone to wander. We're aimlessly unconscious. Like, we're not even really engaging. We're going through routines. And man, I want you to be intentional. I want you to wake up and say, all right, if Dr. Chapa says I can control like how I feel today, where do I start? All right, let's see how much soda. Let's inventory. How much soda do you drink a day? How much of those little apple pops do you do a day for your kid? How many bags of chips do you find yourself eating, or Snickers? Like, inventory what you're putting into your body. Because a friend of mine was telling me even this morning before I got here, he's like, I remember a day in the last 7 years that I've known you where you would cheat with me a little bit. You would have a bagel, or you would have a kolache, or you would have a piece of a waffle. He goes, I don't see you cheat. I haven't seen you cheat in like 5 years. And he had a moment, that little voice that says, oh, but that breakfast biscuit sure does taste good. Oh, and you don't have time. You don't have time to make your own meal. You don't have time to prepare today. Just drive on in there. Get you a quick little fast food job. Get you a little bit of rocket fuel. Let's put a little sugar in there. Your taste buds deserve it. And that's the little voice that you're hearing. But I want to tell you that I have a feeling, and I might be a little extreme here saying this, but I think that might be one of the devil's schemes, to trick you into thinking you don't got time, to trick you into thinking that you can't be better prepared. People don't plan to fail. What do? They fail to plan. And so we've got to get people intentional again. Intentionality means, what am I going to do this month to make my health journey better? I'm going to do a detox, 10 days, 7 days. Heck, you can't do 7 days, do 1 day a week. I had a friend that I met just at a seminar in Michigan a month and a half so back. I went to dinner with him and his lady, and he was telling me how he started fasting. He started with fasting 4 hours a day. Then that 4 hours turned into 24 hours. And that 24 hours turned into 3 days a week. And now he can do 5-day week fast at times in order to reset and allow that body to heal at a higher level.
Starting where you're at is very important. I have a friend who on Facebook posted something about wanting to do a detox, and I posted on there, kind of joking, juicing. I said, man, I would juice a steak because I love meat a lot, but I have done these detoxes before and they do work. And he responded back and asked me, what are the places that do juice? And I said, there are a couple that we've done some stuff with. There's Juice Jam over in Texas City at Mall of the Mainland. And then we have Main Squeeze, which Jeff and his wife own over there by Snooze, right?
Right. Right off Webster, right off Bay Area Boulevard.
Yeah, and I said, check them out. They can make your life a lot easier, whether you're just doing straight up a juice cleanse. And he said the next day he responded back and said, man, I already failed. But even if he did 4 hours, 5 hours, that's a lot more. And then
you need to
something
pat
to build
yourself
on
the back.
Yeah.
And we have to celebrate, and that's what Living Well Clinical Nutrition is there for too, is we are going to be your cheerleaders. We're going to root you forward and educate you. We're going to help you stay accountable, but we're also going to, be gentle whenever you feel like you fell off the wagon. And because when I fall off the wagon, it's going to be different than the way you fall off a wagon. I mean, I literally preach this and teach this every day. One of my coaches just this weekend, he goes, "Yeah, Chop, you're a little bit neurotic, and I'm like, maybe I am fanatical, but it's really because I have reasons to be fanatical. I dawned on me, I'm fanatical because I had a loved one die in my arms. I was there empowering somebody into the next life at 19 years old. That makes an imprint. And many people probably in life never have that experience. And honestly, I look back, and as much as I hate the fact that I don't have a dad to call in the flesh, I would not be who I am without that experience under my belt. And maybe that experience, that level of suffering that I had to go through, God used what the devil meant for evil for me to be bold enough, and I'm gonna, oh my gosh, I'm to be courageous enough to share, boldly with people, to be, Joshua 1:8, be strong and courageous and say what needs to be said, because you might hear me, I might be able to wake you up, I might be able to stir you up, I might be able to encourage you just to take one more step. One of my mentors said that the difference between the winners and the losers is one more step. Is it really one more step?
It can be, yes.
4 hours, 1 hour
a day,
and choosing to drink more water today. It could be as simple as that, guys. And so I want you to be encouraged. I want you to know that you're going to get resources and tools that are going to allow you to go forward and to not only nourish yourself and take the bull by the horns for you. It's your life, it's your health, it's your choice. But then you can become an inspiration and a light bearer for good news and good living practices and good sleep hygiene and good living, modalities to integrate, like detoxification, into your month, into your year. And you start realizing, okay, I can trust, living well. I can trust the clinicians that Dr. Chapa brings into his practice. He's not going to just bring anybody in. He's by prayer, by continually praying, and for people praying for me, I lean heavily on the guidance of the Holy Spirit to help me help you better and to inspire you better. And I love it. I absolutely am a fanatic, because I found that this is a place of ministry that needs to be dealt with, because everybody probably is I'm going to draw a blank on his name at the moment. It'll come back to me. But he wrote a book called Interview with the Devil. And in this book, he talks about how the devil, one of his second most important schemes, other than the battlefield of the mind that other ministers have talked about in the past, is to help you become a glutton, to help you feed the serpent in your belly. Remember, anytime you eat food, really grab this, anytime you drink a fluid, you're either feeding the good guys or you're feeding the bad guys. And so if the serpent is fed in your belly and it clogs up and stops up, and we go from a 6-lane highway down to a 1, guess what's going to happen? It's trouble. Trouble. trouble, trouble, trouble. And when it gets backed up, your liver backs up, your joints start hurting, your head starts hurting, your energy crashes, and you don't feel alive, and you don't feel productive, and you miss a sale, you miss an opportunity, you miss a chance to live and be adventurous, and all of a sudden the devil's over there going, it was so easy. And then there's fanatics like that jump on the radio like myself that like want to just stir you up and to wake you up and enlighten you as much as I can, because this might be the last hour I got, and I want it to count. I want it to be a blessing to one, just one, maybe two if I get lucky. I want people to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is hope, that there is an opportunity to get better, to stay better, to live better, to be better every day of their lives on this planet. And yeah, stuff happens. We can't control it all, but we control what we can. We pray hard. We trust God with the rest. Proverbs 3:5 and 6. 3:5 and 6 says we trust in the Lord with all our heart. We lean not on our own understanding. In all our ways we acknowledge Him, and He will direct our paths. I think that's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Right now it's 10:04. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy. And I got Dr. Aaron Chapa from Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center in studio. If you go to justlivewell.com, you can check out Dr. Chapa's websites. Maybe you can even fill out one of the informational, what is it, like a questionnaire?
Basically, they're online questionnaires. And the cool thing about these questionnaires is they're just a scratch test, of giving you just a little bit of insight to what we're going to be digging into. But we dig. We do a great timeline history. We actually listen. We're going to sit down and we're going to uncover stones, and we're going to figure out why your body is like acting up. And when things aren't going to plan, we're going to change the game. We're not going to just, try to pretend like what works for you is going to work for the next person. We are literally going to fight for you, fight with you. We're going to unite with you, because shared goals build unity. And your program is the project. And you and I and the Living Well staff team will come together, rally around you, pray with you, and make sure that we're helping give you the resources to make these challenging changes. And change, guys, is never easy, but guess what? Change is always happening. Mm-hmm. It's always happening. And so that's why I can tell you that you can choose, and we want you to choose well. Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. And you can give us a jingle at 281-554-8600. And we want you to tune in every week that we're on KHEA Radio, sharing this good news, this good message, and I just love what is happening here. So thanks, Gardy, for letting us make it happen.
Of course. One more thing. On Tuesday, I came into your office. I had a great experience, but I picked up some Thymex. I picked up some Congaplex, and it wasn't even for me. It was for my wife. So the next day, I woke up with a tickle in my throat. No joke. A tickle in my throat. And I went and grabbed those, and I said, let's try this, because I've taken them before, just with you here. I took it, and I took it again that night, and then I took it the next morning. So for the rest of the week, I took it 2 times a day with the serving sizes, right? I'll tell you that the tickle in my throat never got worse. It was where it was at, and I know how my body reacts, and you know how your body reacts as well. But it's usually one day the tickle in the throat, the next day it's a scratch in the throat, the next day your nose is running, and then you're just straight up sick. And it's like, but it never got worse. It stayed just a tickle for about 3 days, and then it just started like getting worse, like less rather. It just kept kind of going down, and I am a believer. That's the first time that I've had those products in my house, and I just went in, and I said, I'm going to do this because I have it here. Let's go. And it worked.
Excited. I'm so excited. And that is such good news, Gardy, because here's what's going to happen next time. The next time, the tickle will be gone in 24 hours. It took 72 because you actually allowed the process to unfold. What you were letting happen is you were allowing your immune system to strategically figure out all the angles, all of the blueprints of its enemy. And then it took 3 days for them to evaluate and then say, all right, we're done with it. As opposed to just come in and drop an atomic bomb of antibiotics or steroids or whatever people do to try to fight these things off, because it is inconvenient. But here's what happens when you play it's too inconvenient to let it ride and let my body figure it out. What happens is you become dependent on crutches and you never learn how to walk yourself. Next time, I can almost, if it's not the next time, it'll be the next after that, but you will see, like, you'll get the tickle and you'll start the process And guess what's going to happen? The next morning, you're going to be like, you're going to have forgotten that you even had it
happen. Yeah.
And it's just going to be, then 3 days later, you're going to go, oh, cool. I never got sick. And then you're going to go, oh, just fluke. No. It's because you had tools, brother. It's because you were integrative and you were very active in recognizing. And what you're learning is you are like adopting practices that you will pass down. You're already passing it into your wife. And then that's going to be passed into your son. That's going to be passed into this next offspring that you're bringing into the world. And that's also when the Proverbs say that, we are to leave a legacy or a inheritance for our children's children's children. Do you understand? Like, that's an amazing call. But what does everybody immediately jump to?
You think about money.
Yeah, it's
right?
all about the money.
Yeah.
No, it's about lifestyle.
Even genetics.
It's about your gene code.
Yeah.
It's about your thinking. If I remember reading stories where children would rally around dad because he demanded it, to rally around grandpa because grandpa had good stories to share. And dad would bring the kids around grandpa, and grandpa and grandma would share stories. They would pass down the torch, if you will. And then today, we don't even remember our great-grandparents' names. We don't even remember barely maybe even our grandparents' names. And it's becoming this literally live for the moment kind of thing, and everybody's just flying by the seat of their pants, doing what they know how to do, not necessarily what they want to do. And so when you think about that passage about passing a generational torch down to 3 generations, to his children's children's children, that is not just money. Money is here today, gone tomorrow. You know what I mean? Can anybody smash the like button for that?
It's true.
It's here today, gone tomorrow. But the reality is the gift of time, the passion, the thinking, the everything good that is in you that you want to give to the next generation, find those moments and hold nothing back and get in front of your wife, get in front of your husband, get in front of your kids and pour your heart out to them. And risk. I know that's risky business because they might smash your heart. They might tear it out. They might stomp all over it. But you know what? You can rest assured that anything that the devil means for evil, God can work out for your good. And you never know. It might not be falling good ground today, but your consistent effort at living out the truth will reign forward in the generations. Let's make sure that reign is a gentle, refreshing, and not a tornado or a natural disaster. We don't want to pass down generational curses, guys. We want to pass down generational blessings, and more blessings. And those blessings, I think, comes through shows like this, being, finding the joy to go yet another day, to finding good insight and information that you can count on, that sounds right, that sounds true, that you can test it. The Bible says test the spirits and find out if they're true. Mm-hmm. Study and show yourself approved. We've got to, iron sharpens iron. We got to build each other up. We got to exhort one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching, because we live in a very negative world and we're focused on the wrong things. And so, this is my little soapbox, but the reality is I think there's value in it because it's not just about getting healthy biochemically. It's about getting healthy mentally. It's about getting healthy emotionally. It's about becoming healthy spiritually. I was sitting at a table, and if we shut it down, just wave at me. But it dawned these 2 guys that I respect and love dearly said religion is the elderly's antidepressant. Oh, no, it's not an antidepressant. It is the joy of the Lord. It is something that is beyond just a subtle, a satisfaction or something to numb the pain of getting older or suffering. It is a life blood. It is a gift into eternity, into relationship with our Heavenly Father through Jesus Christ. Like, what a powerful statement. The joy of the Lord is our strength. The righteous will run and find restoration in Him. You see? Mm-hmm. And I think that we have to remember that the world is trying to tell us that we can't go through this process. The world is telling us that we've got to find a way to that we have to find a way to crutch our way through life. But the reality is we don't need crutches. We just need Jesus. We need a lot more of Jesus.
That's true.
We've taken God out of our society. It's just like the Israelites going to Samuel. 1 Samuel, I believe, 8. Okay, 1 Samuel 8. He's telling this story, and he goes to God. Samuel goes to God. He's a great prophet, and he goes to God and he says, "God, these people, your people, they're asking for a king." He says, but they don't see that you're their king, that you've been their Jehovah Jireh, the Lord their provider. He said that you have parted the Red Sea, that you have provided manna in the thicket of the wilderness and have given them protection from the Philistines. And yet here they are, they're rejecting the great king, the Father of all eternity. And interestingly enough, it just baffles my brain. God says, heed their request and understand. They're not rejecting you, Samuel. They are just rejecting me. And give them what they want. But help them understand when they ask for a king, tell them what it's going to be like. That the king's going to take their great sons. That he's going to take their daughters. He's going to take their land. He's going to take their money. He's going to put them to labor. He's going to make them labor this and labor that and war this and war that. The king will rule over you. You will lose freedom that you once had when you allowed me to be your king. And I go, whoa, that's just in chapter 8, man. And I'm like, I can't wait to get to chapter 9. And I just start realizing that, like, we've done the same thing. We've taken God off the throne. We've taken him out of the schools. We've taken him out of politics. We've taken him out of the world. And now we've got crazy things happening. We got crazy talk all around us. And it's all distractions. Comes right back to how we opened this talk today. It's all detours. It's all a ploy to keep our focus off of what's important and on to things that don't matter and that won't matter and that won't ever matter. And so I just want to encourage everybody that's hearing my voice not to preach at you, but just to share a message that we are repeating history in some respect. And so we've got to make sure that we're giving people
the right information.
In order to get where we need to be.
Yes. Right now it is 10:15. This is KHEA Radio.com, 99.5 FM. We've been talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa. In Thanksgiving came up. It's next week. I'm excited. We're going to be having some different shows, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So Chapa will be in studio on Tuesday, so make sure that you tune in for that. If you are looking to maybe learn some Thanksgiving recipes, maybe that's something we can share. You can just kind of show us what you got.
Yeah.
And it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Well, wait, since we still got a quick moment.
Yeah.
So this is a cool product. This is a plant-based magnesium, and really it's poorly named. It's called Easy Mag, and Easy Mag is a...
It's an interesting name.
Yeah. Well, it's primarily Swiss chard, beet leaf juice powder, buckwheat, which is, by the way, not wheat. Okay, buckwheat is a different type of plant, and this is primarily 85 milligrams of naturally occurring magnesium, okay? But the reason it's poorly named is because it has over 600 different effects in the body. It can affect the power of the muscles, just like magnesium can. It can affect the smooth muscle in your joint tissues. Here's the actual bag. And you could, if you have a cup, you could even try some. I'd love for you to try some. And basically, it helps skin and hair and nails. It helps vision. It helps your immune system. It helps digestion. This product is such a underutilized product because most people have a hard time with bitters, and we've done enough bitter talks on the air where we're sharing different herbs and we're sharing different bitter herbs that taste terrible but have such an amazing effect on the body. And this product tastes a little bit like berries and a little bit like dirt mixed together. And so it doesn't actually taste like, super grand. But I don't actually. I got over that, and I finally, I'm still working on putting it together. And all the spreadsheet for the 600 pathways, because when I saw it, and I go, whoa, 600 different things this thing is doing in our body. Yes, can I have 2? Can I have 3? And there are days I'll throw back 3 of them, knowing, and it's like visually, I can just see 600 pathways from head to foot being up-regulated, being lit up, being turned on, being like, accentuated and lifted in a way that is just exciting. And so I find that stuff like this are products that you can leverage and use. And I was talking to a gentleman this weekend when I was in Florida, and he was just going off about how powerful these products from Standard Process are, and that they really are state of the art. And a lot of these things have been around since 1908. When they originally designed, before Standard Process started in 29. And this company's been around 90 years. I mean, talk about let truth ring true.
It's a long time, yeah.
I mean, anything that can last 90 years in the marketplace, that's got a pretty cool track record.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when we build programs, I want you guys to know that I am standing on the shoulders of giants. I mean, this isn't just like, me standing on a pedestal with some new fandango trick and idea. These are things that have withstood time. They have soared and stayed with the company, and there are products and practices and disciplines that we can bring to the table. And so SP Cleanse is another one of my favorite products that we kind of talk about in the new year, primarily juniper berries and red clover and burdock and pectin for the fiber, apple pectin specifically, collinsonia. I mean, this thing has got over 2,680 milligrams of concentrate in it. And that is massive. People go, well, is that too much? Well, let me just tell you, you've never had most of these things. So one, we're going to restore the supply house. I'm going to fill you up with some good nutrients first and foremost to help drive processes in your body. And again, understanding what you can do. I had a guy from high school reach out to me and go, man, you need to be careful with all those detoxes. They could really hurt you. And I'm like, dude, don't you think I've researched this stuff? Don't you think that I've done these things? Wouldn't you rather me go through the process and be the guinea pig? And just like that guy I was telling you about earlier in the show, that, that setback that he had, God told me, he goes, how many detoxes have you done, Dr. Chapa? And I said, 40. And he goes, how many detoxes have you gotten him to do? And I go, oh, I see. I haven't pushed him hard enough. Sometimes we need a gentle push. A good shepherd pushes his sheep. He nurtures the sheep and cares for the sheep. And I go, got it. I gotta push this guy. And because he's only done 2 detoxes. It's okay that he had a setback. Life's not perfect. The body is aging. We're dealing with more toxicity today than ever. So we've got to clean those bowels. We got to clean that liver. We got to clean it again and again and again. And so detox just is, one of these things that I just can't help but keep doing, because every day that I breathe, I'm pulling in some new toxin that I don't want or need. Every day that I'm playing on my cell phone, I'm getting exposed to stuff that I'm not supposed to get access to. Every time I drink water that is, not filtered, I'm potentially becoming the filter and bringing in those toxins into my body. If I eat something or drink something that I'm not supposed to, I'm potentially putting processed junk that is going to cause my body to feed the serpent. We don't want to feed the serpent. So, then we can kind of go into, hey, if you don't like vegetables, that's okay. We've got, product here called SP Green Food, another one called cruciferous vegetables that support the removal of estrogens out of your body, or support phase 1 detox, or allow your body to just get more nutrients from phytochemicals and phytonutrients. This baby's got 795 different milligrams of phytonutrients and phytochemicals from sprouts, but Brussels sprouts, kale, beet leaf juice, alfalfa, and buckwheat, and again in this one, and then your basic building blocks for your calcium and magnesium reserves. And so I find that we just don't realize that there's availability. So those that are have a phobia, that have a negative approach whenever they think of vegetables, guess what? Just take it in a pill. It's where we start. And I've got great mentors that are like some of the best clinical nutritionists in the country that start with SP Green Food and cruciferous vegetables, and to help you start on that journey to start enhancing your taste buds. Because there's nothing below your taste buds that wants the junk. But there's definitely place for all of your taste buds that need nutrition and dense nutrition, And so we use these products to help restore the body's building blocks for life and for health, because every day we're falling apart. Every day we need nutrition and fuel to stimulate us and to build us back up. And then we look at things like gastrofiber. Gastrofiber is primarily just collinsonia and phenol and psyllium and apple pectin. And fenugreek. This is lymphatic drainage and fibers.
Are those vegetables? Where do those come from?
So collinsonia root is a root plant, and fenugreek is an herb, and psyllium husk is basically a fibrous, an insoluble fiber. So insoluble fibers, the way you kind of picture it in your mind's eye, is the big like twirly thing in a washer for your car. When you drive through that little machine and those big old blue things pound on the outside of your car, think of psyllium husk and apple pectin going through your digestive tract, pounding the edges of the epithelial lining there, basically knocking debris off of the intestinal wall so that your body is able to move trash through more effectively. And what it does is you basically think of a sea anemone, that he kind of like sways back and forth when he's under the sea with the ocean's waves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he becomes full of trash and toxins, or something sits on it and restricts movement in an area, he starts to harden, and so that sea creature then is less effective in the sea and becomes hardened. Well, if you eat a lot of processed food, junk food, bad foods, and you're one of the average Americans that has 10 to 15 meals caked up inside of them, the the fiber, the gastrofiber in this case, has the ability to help push whatever debris is blocking your movement patterns in your bowel. You have these little finger-like projections that are moving back and forth at a microscopic level. If you've got a colonoscopy, this is not what you're seeing. All they're showing you is a bird's eye view of the tissue. Just like when you look at my skin, you see the bird's eye view. But if I did a microscopic approach in looking, 3x, 10x, 150x, power, or even stronger electromagnetics to see deeper, we can see the individual fibers of your skin. You can see where the glitches and the congestion and the things that are bogging you down are at. And anytime you have blackheads, for example, on your face, and you're like, I see people scratch those out or go get these facials to open up those pores, it's because your body has chosen to use your skin as an exit channel because you've got too many contaminants blocking the movement pattern of the intestine, so stuff is stuck down there and it's coming out your skin.
At different phases of your life, will your body choose to use different exit channels? Like all of a sudden, you've gotten blackheads. Maybe you changed your diet, maybe you did, and then you stopped getting them. So your body would maybe be pushing it towards another route.
It should be going through the number one exit channel, which is your bowels, your liver bowel, and maybe the kidneys. And so your kidneys, your bowel are your number one exit channels. Kidneys are a little bit number two because they really should just be filtering blood and pulling like obvious things out. But the bowels like kind of take out the trash. It's like, look at the trash man is the trash man is your bowels, is taking stuff to the dump site. You taking the trash to the curb is your lymphatics through your liver. So if it's a joint effort. You've got to have these systems all working together, and these processes help move your system forward. And I think that is that's the name of the game.
Here's a really probably a silly question as we talk about this, but should the goal be to have as little of a bowel movement as possible if you're only putting stuff in your body that it needs and is utilizing, and then it's just like very little left over that is just trash?
Yeah. What? So say it again.
So should the goal be to only be putting stuff in your body that it is utilizing and needing, to where you're not putting excess or stuff that would be seen as trash that your body can't use? So you're having bowel. So have a little bowel movement because you're only putting good stuff in there that your body needs. You're not overeating. You're having small bowel movements.
Oh, no. So okay, that's an excellent, great, stellar question, Gardy. Seriously,
Thanks.
You're about to get a nugget. And so what happens is
Chicken nugget?
yeah, not a chicken nugget.
Okay,
No,
okay.
yeah, sorry. Like an educational nugget, something that you can carry forward and pass down through the generations. Is if your trash is cleared this afternoon, and as it maybe, I'm going to assume it's on a spreadsheet somewhere, somebody's supposed to come in here and clean the room, right? And when you leave, and let's just assume let's assume that the checklists are followed and that the trash is emptied, right?
Okay.
And so let's say that you do not work tomorrow.
Okay.
Would you agree that the trash, in theory, assuming no work was done in this room, that the trash would remain empty?
That the trash would remain empty if
no one worked.
If nobody works, the trash would stay full.
No. Remember, the trash got emptied.
Okay.
The next day, it's vacation, it's Thanksgiving, so nothing's happening, and you come back in on after Thanksgiving. Is the trash empty?
It should be empty.
It should be empty.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Because work was not done, there was no trash developed, right? Or produced. But when does your body ever stop working?
I guess it works at night. It works in the day, so it doesn't.
That's
it just
right.
is working all the time.
It's working all the time. So always, it's generating what?
Waste.
So you should always, even whenever you're juicing and putting very little in, even when you're fasting and putting very little in, you are generating waste, right? Now, okay, so let's caveat that a moment. I had a little girl, and she, not one of my little girls, but like a little girl come in, and she was approximately 8 years old. This girl was in massive pain. She had belly pain galore. You can't even imagine. Like, this was terrifying. Like, mom was literally haggard. She looked like she had been whooped. And she was just exhausted emotionally, physically, mentally, because she had no answers. Nobody had an answer for this little girl. Nobody. And they had been to a lot of places. And she was referred in, and the guy that referred her said, "You've got to help her. You have to help her. Like, she is, these family needs you." I mean, no pressure, right? I mean, remember, I didn't get you sick. Don't blame me if it doesn't work, you know. But I'm like, I always go at everything with an open mind and say, we will do our best. We know that the body heals. We will know the body wants to heal. You know, that little girl had a bowel movement after 4 days of care in my office. Come to find out, she hadn't had a bowel movement in like 2 weeks, maybe longer, and it was struggling pretty bad. And she was in so much agony and pain, she just laid around and screamed. They couldn't touch her. They couldn't rub her. They couldn't do nothing. And, of course, you know, I adjusted her. Of course, I moved her bowels. I mean, like with my hands, you know, it was so hard. And in 4 days and with some supplements, she has a bowel movement. And her mom texts and says, and I know this is kind of gross, but I mean, just to get the point across, that there is a serpent inside you. This is an 8-year-old. You understand? An 8-year-old. And she goes, she had the largest bowel movement I'd ever seen come out of a human. I'm thinking, well, how many humans have you seen poop?
Yeah. Did she have more kids?
Yeah.
Then she would have seen a couple more at least.
Right. You know, but at the end of the day, I got the message. The message was a brick came out of an 8-year-old. You know, something that was not natural came out of this little human. And so why was she in so much agony and pain? Because she had a tube that's only X centimeters in diameter, and a brick that was bigger, a square peg floating through a round hole, was traveling down the intestinal tract, and it took 4 more days of the work that we did with her to get it to break loose and to move out. And wowza. All I can say is wowza. And she was in a level of freedom in that moment. Her mom said, for the first time in almost 3 months, maybe longer, I can't remember, I'm just trying to be conservative on the stat, that she went to her room and she played with her toys for the first time in months from one gigantuan bowel movement that relieved pain out of her system. And saw her again a second time. Yeah, she was still a little terrified, but it wasn't near as terrifying as the first time. And when we worked on her again, and we had more stuff come out. So obviously, what the point of the story is if you're caked up and you are experiencing symptom patterns that you were not genetically born with, you initially might have really large bowel movements that you don't normally expect to come out of a human or to come out of you. But when you get healthy and your bowels are moving in a successful manner, all of a sudden you get to a place in a space where you start to the freedom kicks in. But does that mean that your body's still not working and generating waste? No, you're always going to generate waste. So you should always, even fasting, be having excrement come out your system. And it shouldn't necessarily be smaller. They should still be fawn-colored, fluffy floaters about a foot long, or a little cow patty, depending on what it is you're actually eating. And it should have some resemblance, of the quality of food that you're putting in. You're putting good stuff in. I mean, listen, when I did my juice feast, and this is probably
TMI.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should say it or not. But if you eat prunes, for example,
okay,
and you have nothing in your system, meaning I did a juice feast for 30 some odd days. Basically, the prunes should go through you in an hour and 18 minutes. 1 hour, 18 minutes. They should come
on the clock.
On the clock. It should almost be
clockwork.
Perfect. And so if you're close, 10 minutes either side of that, that's the transit time, and that's how you know that your bowels are really, really, really clean. And then because some people say, oh, well, I have a bowel movement every day. Well, okay, that's great, except that might be last week's meal. Oh no, it looked like the steak. Well, how many times do you eat steak? 4 times a week.
I do enjoy steak.
Yeah. And so I'm just picking on steak. I had 2 steaks this weekend. It was really good.
Nice.
And so, but the game to be played is to recognize that your body is always generating waste, and so you're always needing to eliminate either through your stool or through your urine, and that's just the name of the game. We all do it, so you might as well get comfortable talking about it around the dinner table. And people go, "It's inappropriate." No, it's not. I mean, because it should be happening 2 to 3 times a day, every day. And then and I think again, there's the old story of there's a pond over there and there's alligators that live there, but we don't tell anybody. We don't put signs up. We don't warn people, hey, don't go over there. We just assume that the kids that go missing or the parents that go missing, get eaten by the alligators, but we just choose not to tell anybody. Again, we mislead people. We miseducate people. People miss the boat and get hurt, get injured, and they don't realize that 80%. I'm telling you, brother. 80% of all your health problems, everything that you've seen somebody go through, dealt with yourself, started in your digestive tract. 80%. That is, so think about that statistic. What if you invest 80% of your effort in your digestive tract? Healing it, restoring it, doing our gut restoration protocols, helping to move things through there that are stuck, doing bentonite clay programs, activated charcoal programs, stimulating the mucous membranes through golden seal and echinacea and chaparral, getting in there with vitamin A and C, getting in there with cod liver oil or fish oil, getting in there and lubricating those bowels and making the liver produce more bile. Guess what? Who can do that for you? Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center can teach you how to do all those things. And all those things makes your system perform at a higher level. And even as you get older, we are, in a sense, preventing the thinning, the irritating, the degeneration process from happening. And therefore, you live more vibrantly all the days of your life.
So right now it is 10:36, streaming on Facebook, hanging out on channel 46.2 in Houston, Texas, and we are also on 99.5 FM. This is a comment from Ashley, and then there's a question from Michelle. So I'm going to read the comment first, and then we'll get to that question so you can answer it. Ashley said, you helped my little one with a similar but not so extreme issue, talking about the story with the little girl. Forever thankful for the knowledge to avoid it happening again. Supplements and ready, set, go daily. Okay, that's awesome.
Beautiful.
And here's another. This is a question from Michelle. She was asking this about exit channels. Is psoriasis like an exit channel too? So if you have psoriasis like on your skin, right?
Excellent. So What's up, Jeff? Come on in, dude. So the is psoriasis like an exit channel? So psoriasis is an exit channel with respect to your skin being the exit channel.
Yes.
And so so when people have psoriatic arthritis, that's now the skin and the joints being inflamed together, and so your body is absolutely doing two things. It's either pushing the toxins out the skin, or it's storing those toxins in the joints. And so what winds up happening is these two tissues have to be alleviated. We can't allow the digestive tract to be clogged up and use the skin as an exit channel any longer. I had my very first patient was a student that came to me named Tony after I went through a program called the Y Files. And the Y Files was as a teaching from Joe Thomas, Dr. Joe Thomas, who is a medical doctor and a chiropractor and a nutritionist and others. And then Dr. John D'Onofrio, who was a clinical neurologist as well as a clinical nutritionist and a chiropractor and brilliant humans. Okay, so I got an experience with these two guys, and one of my mentors says, you've got to go see this. This is something I've never seen before. And he spent the very first 2 hours of the class. It was standing arena only. This place was packed. We were sardines in a sardine can and borderline claustrophobic. And he opens the class and says, Joe's got a piece of paper. I want to know what you guys want to learn this weekend. And so he goes through, and every person in that classroom starts throwing out, I want to learn this. I want to learn this. I want to fix heart disease. I want to fix cancer. I want to fix digestive problems. I want to fix allergies. I want to first, libido problems. I want to fix energy crises, chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue, every Cushing's disease. It didn't matter, brother. It was mentioned. I mean, 2 hours of just documents. And Joe's got writing it all down. And then he says, all right, anybody else got anything? And I think by this time we've exhausted the Merck Manual's diagnostic, abilities. Okay. and he looks at Joe and he goes, I think we got it. He looks back at us and says, all right, for the next 14 hours, I'm going to teach you how to fix every one of these conditions. I'm going to teach you concepts and philosophical understanding of the body and how it works so that you can go to your patient base and give them something that they'll never get in the current medical model. And I'm like, no way. This is baloney. This is a hoax. This is a charlatan. And sure enough, as every hour progressed, I was just more and more on the edge of my seat, wishing I could record it, but he wouldn't let nobody record it because, this was very sensitive information. I can't even. It was amazing, and I might have actually recorded some of it. Just throwing it out there.
Dr. Chapa, don't say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're listening.
And this, then on Monday, invariably, I go to a seminar, and then Monday that patient walks in, and this guy, Tony, walks up to me with psoriasis. And psoriasis so bad that it was borderline leprosy. He'd go to a swimming pool with his son, and people would get out of the pool. People came and started asking him to get out of the pool because they was ruining the water for everybody. Wow. He was bleeding in his SI joints and his low back. He was bleeding on his shoulders.
I wouldn't get in the pool if I was.
I know. He probably shouldn't have. But what things you do with your kids, right? They want you to go and involve yourself in their world. But this guy,
of course, yeah.
Is ashamed. He's embarrassed. He doesn't know what to do. And he comes to me and says, "You think you can help me?" And I'm like, "Why do you pick me?" I must have had a sign on my forehead that says I can fix psoriasis at day one.
Yeah.
And really bad psoriasis. So I called Joe and I called Dr. John and I said, "How do I fix this?" They said, "All right, do this." I didn't even change his diet. Seriously, didn't even change his diet. Just put him on supplements. And I'm like, we're gonna help you in 30 days. 18 days, we had an over 85% improvement in the psoriasis. This guy had suffered for over 10 years. It was such a drastic change in this guy that all the attending clinicians on our campus started coming up to me and say, "Hey, what'd you do for Tony? It's pretty amazing. Hey, how'd you fix Tony? Hey, seriously, how'd you fix Tony? Hey, tell me. I really want to know. How'd you fix him? This is unbelievable." And I'm like thinking, I'm like a mid-year. I'm like midway through the process. I'm a nobody, and people and all the docs are walking up to me asking me these questions, and I'm thinking, I'm afraid to say anything. Like, am I in trouble? Did I do something wrong? And literally, I knew this guy for another year and a half outside of that, and he was fine the entire time. And so your body just wants to be freed of the terrible traffic jam that's southbound on
I-45.
Isn't that right, Jeff?
10-4. I was about to say, I don't know if you have normally a traffic report on here, but I was about to give one. If you're heading south on 45, give yourself an hour.
So we have Jeff from Main Squeeze in Webster in studio. What's up?
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Man, it's great other than that traffic.
Yeah, it goes down to one lane, I think.
Well, yeah, and then when there's a wreck in that one lane, you sit there for
How would
a
there
while.
be a wreck on one?
That's really sad.
I
Well,
would say
clogged up.
phones. I would say phone. If
Cell
I had
phone?
one, somebody was on their phone. Absolutely.
Well, so let me say this. So first, I would like to publicly just apologize because I was in that same traffic, and I should have given you a heads up.
Yes.
Had I had half
Yes.
a brain cell.
I was thinking that I wasn't going to call you out on radio, but I was thinking exactly what you're talking of right now.
Yes.
What was I thinking? I'm like, oh, Jeff, he's always early. He'll be fine. I mean, and I was on the phone, and I was late too. I was like 20 minutes late, right? Normally I'm in here like 8:45. I think we started the show at like 9:05 because of my
correct.
tardiness.
Well, then I don't feel too bad because you're used to coming here.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
So
And-
I still feel bad. But
yeah.
let me look a little into. I showed up actually early to the store this morning because I had a group do. 14 people did a group challenge, juice cleanse challenge.
Nice.
So
Tell us
I'm
about that.
I'm
What is
like
it?
I'm gonna go into the store early. I'm gonna bag these up, and I'm gonna
be
go
early.
do some radio, man. And brain starts, and then I look up. And I'm like,
Well,
and then I get stuck in traffic.
I think we're okay. So I mean, but tell us what it. First, just tell us who are you?
I ask myself that all the time. No, so man, look, if you don't know, we're Main Squeeze Juice Co. on Bay Area Boulevard in the new strip center with Snooze, Mod Pizza, Hop Daddy Burger. Those guys been there. This coming January will be a year. Super excited to be in the Webster area. The community has been fantastic for us, but every day trying to spread the word, man.
Man, do you realize? So January. That's where we met. That was our debut.
That's it. Yeah,
That's where it all came together for us. So
Detox?
detox.
You're in the
talk.
detox?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of the weeks in the detox. I think
Butler's?
week 2 and 3. He was came over to Butler's Courtyard and he swept me off my feet.
Swear to- so I don't know if it was me or my juice, but something caught him. And,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
One and the same.
we've been
That's
been
right.
great friends since. So
Yeah. I have a question. You mentioned a group going through like a challenge.
Yeah.
What is the
Yeah.
challenge?
yeah. So actually just posted it on Facebook a few days ago, and I'm expecting my flyers to be in my hand this week. So I will be out and about in the Webster and surrounding areas passing out these flyers for a juice cleanse challenge. So if I wake up one day and I want to do a juice cleanse and I do it by myself, there's no one other than myself to hold me accountable, right? Mm-hmm. So what I do is I try and round up groups of people, whether it's people you work with in your office, your friends, family, however you want to do it. You get 3 or more people involved. From 3 to 7 people, and this is a smoking deal, Chopper will vouch.
Oh, yeah.
Between 3 and 7 people, it's going to be $6 a bottle plus tax. And if you get
Which is
8,
awesome.
if you get 8 people or more to join your group, it's going to be $5 a bottle plus tax. So that's
Unbelievable.
a pretty
That's
incredible deal. And then you've got a group of people to help motivate you, keep you into it, so you don't cave.
How long are they doing it?
So my offer is anywhere from 3 days to 7 days. So whatever you want to, and you don't all have to do, right? You just have to bring a group of 3 or more to the table that want to do a 3-day or more juice cleanse. But with a deal like this, if you've been wanting to do a juice cleanse, now's the time.
And think about it. Like what did we talk about earlier on our show today? Like you start small, 3 days with a group and community surrounding you. Right before the holiday, you're giving yourself that little gusto of I'm taking the bull by the horns, and you've got community, like the family of community, that you're not the only crazy person doing things like this in the holiday. You know what I mean? Like, but all the more reason to do it because there's so many reasons not to do it that we've got to find reasons to do it. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Right, that's right. And so I've jotted down throughout here, I've jotted down a couple of questions that I hear a ton in the store. Some of them, and the main reason I wanted to join Choppa on this is because he's got better insight on some of this than I do from his perspective.
Right.
But then I've got some that are kind of store related. Why choose Main Squeeze for your juice cleanse? And so I jotted down a couple things, and as we move forward, I'll just bring a couple of these questions up, and then combined we'll answer them.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have some insight, of course, that I don't have, and I think people want to hear that side as well as what I have to say.
Well, here's a legit question, and this is coming from our Facebook page. If you're watching on Facebook, smash the share button. Let's get some information out. The question is, do you guys have a Facebook group for that? Main Squeeze. Do y'all have like that Main Squeeze challenge so people can you know what? I have found being in challenges like that, you know, the community is big, and now technology allows that even more. Like I'm in a workout one, and so I see people talking about, hey, are you sore? What's going on? It's just nice to have. Is there one for those created yet?
There's not yet, but that is a fantastic question,
Awesome.
so I will get on that. No, that is fantastic. I like that.
So thank you. Who was that?
It was Ashley.
I knew it. I love Ashley. Ashley, you're
Classic
so
Ashley.
amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think, you know, most people really hear when they hear, you know, 3-day fast, juice fast or something like that? What do you think, you know, and what you've been doing for the last year and a half working with people that they hear?
So originally it's oh, I can't do that. Like, so I would think is the perception that people have is it's far worse than it actually is. Look, before I got into the whole Main Squeeze thing, I was potentially the worst eater you knew. I mean, I'll say that. It was burgers, tacos, pizzas, like quick, convenient, unhealthy, right? Getting a little older, things start to change, and you start looking for a healthier lifestyle. And in my case, it wasn't necessarily healthier for the good of myself. It was healthy for the appearance, right? Everybody wants to be, or not necessarily be, but look in shape, right? And so that's where it started for me. Things started to change as I got older, and the pizza and burgers and tacos weren't agreeing necessarily quite so much with me anymore. And so that's what got me on the kick of looking for a healthier option. I personally am not a vegetable fan. Do not eat them. Never have. My mama couldn't make me eat them, and you can't either, right? And so, as Main Squeeze came about, it originally started in Lake Charles, Louisiana. It was a buddy of mine. He made me try the juice, and I told him, man, I need to stand by that trash can, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize now because I don't want to offend you when I spit this out and throw it away.
Yeah.
Because I'm just kale, spinach. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
not happening.
it's not me.
Not happening. And so I walked to this juice cooler, and he started me with a green juice. He started me with the Glow, and I read the ingredients. I was like, man, these look really good. You don't know. I'm telling you, you're gonna like this. And I took a sip of the Glow, and that was it. From there on, that was it. I've been a believer since then. Have since purchased multiple licenses of Main Squeeze in the Houston market. And it's changed my life. It's changed the way I view food. And he goes into this a lot. You know, once you make a change, to me, it was the way it made me feel.
I have a question real quick. You said multiple in the Houston market. Does that mean that you are going to be expanding? Is there more Main Squeezes coming to the area? Where are they going?
Oh, yeah. So we've sold over 25 locations in the Houston market. Not all mine. But we've sold just about every available territory. There's a couple of territories left, but for the most part, they're taken. I mean, we're open in KHEA, about to open in Fulshire. We're open in Sugar Land, Woodlands, Atascocita, Conroe. We're about to have one in Pearland right down the road here. So it's growing really, really fast.
Awesome.
And so the coolest thing is to see people that are kind of like me come in the store, and most of the time they're coming in to try the smoothies. Who doesn't love a good smoothie, right?
Absolutely.
And so
the
we get
are quite amazing, by the way.
Yeah, Choppa's a regular on the smoothies, green protein.
Yeah, that's right.
Green protein.
That's right. Elevated, you know.
That's it.
It's pretty amazing.
And so to be able, for somebody like me that was the worst eater on the planet, to find something that I truly enjoy that's given me all the nutrition that I've been missing all these years. And that's what really got me hooked on the juice. Originally, I was smoothie. And now I'm juice 90% of the time, smoothie 10% of the time. And it was because the sheer amount of vitamins and nutrients in a bottle of our juice is mind-blowing. And from somebody that never got that, because I didn't eat the vegetables, to then all of a sudden get infused with these vitamins and nutrients that I'm not used to, man, like incredible feeling, energy level through the roof, like all these things started to change. And Choppa is one of the best to explain why.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I know the way it makes me feel. I can't necessarily put it into terms that everyone else would understand. It's almost kind of.
Well, you probably could actually put it in terms that most people can understand, and I might be able to like go just a little bit above their head into the science world of it. But Frank, it's there's a couple things about y'all's juice that I think that is important to note. It's not a pasteurized juice. Can you talk to people a little bit about the quality of your juice? And I truly believe the taste that you're describing. I mean, I'm a little thinking, man, I'm drive back over when I go back northbound. I'm gonna go get me some juice. And the idea here is why does it taste so good? And I think it's because it's not pasteurized. It's not heat treated. And if you could talk to them a little bit about that, that's step one in knowing what quality of product are you delivering to the people.
Correct. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that think juice is juice.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. There's a reason we choose to be raw, cold pressed juice. There's a couple of different ways. There's centrifugal, which is most of your in-home juicers, which generates a lot of friction and a lot of heat, which anytime you apply any sort of heat or pressure to raw produce, it immediately starts the breakdown of the nutrition, vitamins, and minerals that you're actually after.
But heat definitely faster than like cold press.
Heat is the enemy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so there's a reason when you go to some of these places or you do it at home that it's foaming. That foam is showing you the breakdown. That's exactly what the foam.
Reaction.
That's right. And so if you juice at home, it is known that you should consume that within 30 minutes or you're basically drinking flavored water, basically, because all the nutrition has died. It's gone. You've applied so much heat and friction to that the nutrients are gone. And then there's also another process that people are less familiar with that is really consuming the juice business right now, and it's called HPP. It stands for high pressure pasteurization. So any of these juices you see in grocery stores, your big box guys, right? They're HPPing their product. There's no possible way you can get 30 days out of
a juice.
No
Absolutely.
possible.
Does it have to be pasteurized? I know you said milk does. Right?
Legally, yes.
If it's in a grocery, like a big box store.
And so in order to say 30 days on a expiration shelf life, there has to be some level of preservation or death that has come to the ingredients. Because when you pasteurize anything, you're denaturing its molecular content, and ultimately we are molecular. Like even all these nutrients, all these things that they have access to in the form of food in a pill or food in a liquid, they're nutrition in a bottle or they're not. And so when we eat dead, devitalized foods, all of a sudden our molecular structure doesn't get lifted. It doesn't get electrified. And when you put in, say, when he takes a juice and he breaks it down and he doesn't heat treat it, he doesn't molecularly change it. When he doesn't heat pressure this product, it doesn't change its molecular structure, and it's leaving what we call its biophotons in place. It's leaving its enzymatic activity in place. So when we take in food, when we eat food and we overcook our food, we're basically boiling out or burning out or heating out any value, and we're just putting in a sense, a temporary, placeholder of satisfaction that we may or may not get any good nutrients out of. So the juice is very important that it does have a short shelf life. That's how you really know that its quality is going to be there. They're expecting this to lose quality very quickly because they expect you to drink it within a couple days.
Yeah. It only lasts that long.
Yeah. So we have a 7-day sell by on our bottles. And so our worst enemy, our process, our produce is delivered cold. We keep it cold. We press it cold. It's bottled and it remains cold. So again, that temperature change is never really there. And our machine, we use a Good Nature X1. And so there's the way the blade is driven. It's through hydraulics, and the motor is a long ways away from the blade. Mm-hmm. And so there's never any heat transfer. And then once it's chewed up and it's spit down in the bag, it's pressed 2,000 pounds per square inch is what we press. So when we press our juice, we press it 2 to 3 times per press. And when we pull the bag out, the pulp from the produce, it's like sawdust. It's dry. That's how hard the machine presses. And so what happens is it's screened twice after that to make sure we get all the
Pulp?
the chunks out. People don't want to drink
Chunky water.
Yeah. And so it's screened very well. So when you buy a bottle of our juice, it is truly raw, cold pressed juice with all the goods in it. And then we've got the, so with no heat transfer, it's the microorganisms that are in it that are really important, along with all the nutrients that you're wanting to get out of the produce. And so all of our bottles of juice have 2 to 4 pounds of produce in them. So
wow. Pounds.
That's
a lot of nutrition
per bottle. So when you start talking about trying to sit down and eat 2 to 4 pounds of produce, it's pretty tough.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's why people, back to the original question, that was kind of the long way to get here, but back to the original question, so they think they can't pull it off, and so then you tell them, well, you're getting the nutritional value from 2 to 4 pounds of produce per bottle, and you're drinking 6 bottles a day. So are you hungry? You're probably not hungry, but mentally,
it's a change.
Yeah, you're not doing the motion. You're not sandwich to mouth, spoon, fork to mouth, right? And so your brain may be telling you you're hungry, but you couldn't consume the amount of nutrition that you did in that bottle by sitting and eating 6 bottles a day.
And something to kind of throw into this conversation at that moment for those that are even considering or thinking that you can't do it, and recognize that you have 10 to 15 meals caked up inside of you. I assure you. Like, I've been doing this long enough. I'm baffled all the time at the processes that people, or the symptoms that people come in with, and it's GI, affected. Like, we can help the bowels be relieved, the game changes. And so when we do a juice feast and we put 6 bottles of juice into your body, it's like water eroding rocks. Remember earlier, before Jeff came in, we were talking about the sea anemone. He's like, throwing his little finger like projections back and forth, but they're all clogged up, so his reach is limited. His ability to absorb, his surface area, his square footage in your digestive tract is limited. So yes, you might have the square footage of a tennis court of a digestive tract. That's what they've estimated, right? With all these finger-like projections, these little microvilli present in the GI tract. But maybe you've got 75% of it clogged up, caked up, or bound up doing something else. And when you start putting all that juice in, it's able to go in and start releasing a lot of this excess stuff that you've got burdening your tissues. Therefore, giving your body what we call a vacation from stress and stimulants. We're giving your body still the depth of nutrition, followed by the cleansing effect of liquid on tissue that needs to be eroded. And then you're able to clear the channels, give your body a break. The whole game of fasting is giving the body a vacation, a day of rest. And so juice feasting is a way to do that break 3 or 4 days in a row, 5 days in a row. As long as I've done it as 34 days straight of just straight juice, not one meal in that time frame. It was just a gallon of juice a day.
That's a long time, Dr. Chapa.
It's a long time. It was truly an amazing little experience.
Right now, it's 11:02 a.m. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to share this out. Hanging out with Jeff from Main Squeeze, Dr. Aaron Chapa from Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. Can we go till about 11:10? So we have like 8 more minutes. How much can we squeeze in? Just because I have an appointment where I'm supposed to film, unless y'all need to end right now.
No, let's
Yeah,
do
no,
it.
yeah.
At 11:30.
Yeah,
so
we'll do it.
How
So-
much more can we touch on? Let's see.
Yeah. So, so the next question, and you kind of touched on it, is I get a lot of, well, why do I cleanse? Well, it's different for everybody, and so my staff is really good at helping explain. And when you come in, they're going to first ask you, what are your goals? Is it weight loss? Is it jump starting a healthier lifestyle? Is it I feel bad?
Curiosity?
Yeah. I mean, tell me what your goal is out of this, and we'll help design a package to get you where you're wanting to go. I mean, we've got lots of people that come in that want weight loss, and so we will put a package together, help them with lifestyle changes, talk about how to transition into or off of a juice cleanse, because hopefully that's not the end of the journey. You do a 7-day cleanse and you jump back to burgers, tacos, and pizza, right?
So you will lose weight? Will people lose weight during this? Because that's somebody's asking right now. With a 3-day juice cleanse, what are some things you'll experience? Are those things that'll happen?
Yeah, generally you will experience weight loss. Some more than others. It just kind of depend. Luckily for us guys,
We lose weight easily.
We lose weight really easy when we're not eating the bad, right? And so you're taking in a lot of healthy nutrition with none of the bad for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, whatever that case may be. So if you're any sort of active, and you don't have to be, but of course we recommend that. But if you're any sort of active and you do a 3 to 7 day juice cleanse, in fact, I had a guy reach out just yesterday via email. He did a 4-day cleanse and lost 11 pounds.
And that's that's impressive, man. But here's the thing. What did he lose? People you're not going to lose muscle mass in 4 days. You're getting rid of excrement, things your body doesn't need. Those fat cells, remember, this fat cell can swell up 7 times the size of normal. So whenever you're doing 2 things, you're giving the body the nutrition, so you're up-regulating or turning on or making more productive the cell's energetics to perform better. And then that allows those tissues to go around and squeeze those toxic fat cells and push trash out of the body more effectively. And that's ultimately what you're getting rid of, is that old junk.
Yeah. Will you have energy to keep up? If you have a pretty active lifestyle, will you be able to maintain the stuff you do?
Yes.
And
tons of energy.
Tons of energy. There's no question.
So the one thing I will say, you've got your guys that lift heavy.
Right.
You may not want to push that quite as hard during your cleanse, because you are going to be lacking quite a bit of the protein that you're normally getting, right? And so
so if you're going to work out during that time, maybe take it back a little bit and do more circuit stuff instead of pushing the heavy weights. Still burn some calories, keep up your activity level,
mobilize
but
those
you're not trying
lymphatics.
to going for your max reps.
Yeah, maybe
kind
kind of take that as a recovery week where you're going to drop back your heavy weight lifting and do some cardio, things like that. Again, it kind of depends on what your goals are
exactly.
in doing the cleanse. But so the main answer for that is who should do a juice cleanse? Well, everybody should.
Everybody can.
Yeah. I don't care
Kids?
how kids. We've got kids that my kids love it. His
My
kids
kids
drink
love
it all the time. And so then again, it just kind of depends. If you're wanting to jumpstart a healthier lifestyle, you don't necessarily have to do a true juice cleanse. I do what's called juice till dinner, Monday through Friday, where I drink water and juice from breakfast until 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then I try and eat a healthy meal. So just kind of depends on where you're at and what you're trying to accomplish. So,
Okay. I do have a question. So how long, let's say I do the cleanse, I'm doing 3 days, 7 days, 21, I do Dr. Choppa's 38-day cleanse, in my dreams, right? Maybe I do. But I wake up from that dream, how long before I can go and eat my normal diet again?
So it really depends on how long you do the juice cleanse.
That's right.
As to how long it takes to transition off. Ultimately, our goal whenever you come in and do a juice cleanse with us is that it's going to continue to go the healthy lifestyle, right? We don't want you to come do a 3-day cleanse with us and that next morning you
Taco
wake
Bell,
up
breakfast.
right. So ultimately, if you're going to do any sort of cleanse with us, it depends on what your lifestyle is prior to, right? So if you're a big sugar person or a big caffeine person, you are going to want to do a couple of days of weaning off of that before you do your juice cleanse challenge. There's some things that go along with caffeine and sugar. Your body ultimately doesn't like it or want it. You do, but your body doesn't. And so you'll go through the fatigue part from not having the caffeine or the sugar. You'll have this little gnawing headache, typically day 2, maybe into day 3.
And a lot of times when I have experienced that kind of stuff with patients, walking them through the process, just drop another juice in there. Like sometimes, ideally you should be fine on 6 juices, you know what I mean? But sometimes just drop another juice in there. It's okay. Like you're learning your biochemistry, and some people's bodies have a little bit more needs than others, depending on what they're already addicted to, depending on how toxic their body is. And I mean, that is the name of the game, is to listen to your body. A part of juicing that most people get out of it, that they don't realize they're going to get out of it, is they learn to listen to their body a different way than had they never done the detox or the juice feast prior.
Yeah.
And that learning to listen to your body allows you to start course correcting before things go awry. You start seeing the check engine lights arise, and you're like, oh, it's time to do a juice. It's time to do a juice feast. It's time. I need a 3-day. I need a 5-day. Man, I'm really off the wagon. I need to drop a 7-day in there.
Yep. And a lot of times what we'll do is for the guys that man, I just don't think 6 juices are going to be enough. Well, our almond milk, we make it in-house. Organic almonds soaked 14 hours.
It's good.
Yeah, you remember that.
I had it.
I told you, it's fantastic.
It's very good.
But the main reason we offer that, we offer our almond milk for your last juice of the day, because it's heavier, it's got lots more protein in it. And so what happens is you drink that as your last juice of the day, and you're not laying in bed starving to death like, oh my God, I can't make it till the morning. And so what we'll do for a lot of the guys that are heavy lifters, or man, I just don't think we'll throw almond milk in the morning and then another one that evening, so they're getting 2 doses of that protein in a day, which is why I say, you come in, talk to the staff, and kind of tell them where you're at, what your goals are. We can put a package together that's going to work.
So here's a question. This is from Lori, and we are about out of time. We have about a minute left. She said, so don't do this right before Thanksgiving? LOL. Because if you're going to go back into I'm going to eat like Thanksgiving style, but we don't have that much time before Thanksgiving.
And here's the deal. So ideally, this is like we talked about early in the show. So if you didn't catch our first section, go back and listen to it, because I've got patients that have been doing detox 10 days ago that started 5 days ago, and we'll work them right up to the detox. But on the 20, I think it's the 20th. So on the 30th of this month, for example, or the 30, is it 30 days? I can't remember. I think so. 2 or 3 days after Thanksgiving, you start your feast, and that way you're prepping for the new year if you're going to go a 7-day. But man, you could do 3 days right now, easy. For every 4, this is to kind of help answer that question about what do you do to get off. For every 4 days on a fast, it's about a day of getting back into living again. If you're truly 100% not eating anything. And so if you did a 3-day, you'd be totally fine.
This weekend.
You could do it easily, no problem, and you'll be ready for Thanksgiving, no problem at all.
Yeah, do a 5-day.
You could technically shoot over there today, do a 5-day, and you're cash money. So definitely yes, go do a feast today.
There's time if you start now.
Remember, if you grow an oak tree 20 years ago, fantastic. But man, the next best time, if you haven't sowed your oats, start today. Start right now. And I'm just so excited that Jeff is offering this to the community and to the public, because he is on a mission to just teach people how to live better, be better, and stay better through juicing, and using this tool as a nutritional trusted tool that you can put in your tool chest of health and wellness practices that, again, fits right into the model of Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, which is if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, you're missing a huge healthcare piece. So I'm a firm believer in utilizing this technology and recognizing that, you really don't need as much food as you're stuffing in your mouth every day. I know that sounds like a little harsh and a little strong, but what you start realizing is your body just wants to be nutritionally fed, dense foods, like good quality nutrition, not all these empty calorie foods. And the juices that Jeff has at his store are absolutely dense with nutrition.
2 to 4 pounds.
2 to 4 pounds
Yeah.
is no joke. That is a lot of goodness coming into your cells. Your body will just upregulate, turn on. Those cells will perform better than ever. Your mind will be sharp and clear. You will feel ecstatic. Like you'll be thrilled at the experience. And what I really love, and I want you to grab hold of, no matter what experience you have on your first go, your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth experience is going to get better, and better. It only gets better when you start down this path. You start realizing, hey, I am in control of my health. I can make changes. I can integrate this stuff. Just like Jeff says, I'm a no vegetable eater, no go, no how, not going to happen. But yet here he is. He is promoting juices.
Yeah.
2 to 4 pounds of juice a day, bro. That's awesome.
I tell
I'm
people
proud
all
of
the
you.
time, if you'd have told me 3 years ago this is what I would be doing, I'd have called you a liar to your face.
Wow.
With some other words probably thrown in there.
Jeff, before we sew up the show today, can you share where you're located? How can they find you on social media, internet, everywhere else?
Absolutely. So we are Main Squeeze Juice Co. Webster on Facebook. It's Main Squeeze Juice Co. on Instagram. And then we are 820 West Bay Area Boulevard right there in Webster. So, you have to swing by, reach out. We'd love to help you out and get you started on a healthier diet and a
his
healthier
staff
lifestyle.
are amazing. Everybody he brings in loves the work. They love being there, and I love going in there and them saying hi and saying Jeff's in the back, go harass him, and going back there and seeing the facility in action is pretty unbelievable. I mean, it's like you go, whoa,
That's fun.
This is like seeing the wizard behind the curtain,
Yeah.
And
Very cool.
spoiler alert, first announced here, for those of you guys that know you're going to eat a
Junk.
lot or unhealthy for Thanksgiving, my hands up. I'm going to do it.
I'm
promise
probably going to
you.
eat something I shouldn't too.
Day before Thanksgiving, because we're closed Thanksgiving Day. So the day before Thanksgiving, we're going to have a really good juice special going on so they can come by that cleanse the day before
the Friday.
Thanksgiving
You're
and
good to go.
start the day after.
Awesome.
Go ahead and
Beautiful.
help cleanse out that
Bowel system of yours.
Good old meal.
I can't believe Chapa said he's going to eat not good for Thanksgiving. I don't believe you. Everything else,
I mean,
is good
we'll
without
see.
it.
But we'll see. So the game is, I just kind of leave it up to what my mood is and how it's going to go down. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, it's all going to be gluten free and it's going to be limited sugar. So I mean, what's bad in my world it's cheating to me.
Different
You know what I mean?
than mine.
Yeah, probably a little different than the average.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Be blessed. Go share the stream if you're watching on Facebook or you're listening on 99.5 FM or you are on 46.2. Search KHEA Radio, find the stream, share it. Let's spread some good news.